Look at this guy. He's flailing around like he's having a seizure, trying to climb onto the roof with a chainsaw. But both his hands are occupied holding the saw, so he just can't keep his balance. So he decides to hang the chainsaw from his waist. Problem solved, right? Hands are free now. But he didn't realize that even a little chainsaw can have a temper. Curly's climbing the ladder up ahead, and the chainsaw's busy sawing it down from behind. Let's see how you plan to get back down. Who knew? Just as Curly climbed up, he nearly split Mo's head open with the chainsaw. Mo, fuming, grabs the chainsaw and swings it at Curly's shiny bald head. Shockingly, Curly's bald head is completely untouched, but the chainsaw? Totally wrecked. Clearly a knockoff. I told you this one wouldn't work, but you just had to save that lousy 50 cents. Now look at us. No tools, nothing left. We're totally screwed, aren't we? Hearing his secret exposed, Mo grabs a sledgehammer and swings it at Curly. Right then, Sister Mary Mengele walks by. Mo misses Curly, and the hammerhead flies off, nearly hitting Sister Mary Mengele square in the face. That sets her off. Just you wait till I get up there and teach you three a lesson. But the ladder's already been sawed in half. With no way up, she's stuck yelling from below, demanding the three clowns come down at once. Larry gets startled, and in a panic, pulls the pin out of a massive iron bell. The bell slides right down the roof and lands squarely on Sister Mary Mengele's head. Realizing this could turn into a real tragedy, the trio rushes down to save her. And the result? Mo and Larry ended up knocking Sister Mary Mengele out cold, and it's not over yet. Larry turns around and sees 300-pound Curly barely holding on. If he falls on her, that's going to be game over, so they try to drag Sister Mary Mengele to safety. But in the process, they slam her head into a fire hydrant. They turn back again. Too late. Curly falls, landing right on top of her. Now they're in full panic mode. To wake her up, Larry grabs a bucket of water and dumps it over her. She's really done for this time. They sprint off to get the dean. But halfway there, their tricycle crashes into another ladder. The guy on the ladder falls, straight onto three nuns below. The trio turns around and shouts, "What's going on?" "Broad daylight, and you dare do this?" Without hesitation, they tackle the man, cover his head, yank out his armpit hair, and start beating him in every ridiculous way they can think of. Luckily, the nuns rush in and stop them, just in time to save the man's life. Turns out, that man is none other than the highest-ranking priest around, Monsignor Ratliff. The moment they realize it, the trio strips off their jackets and offers him a warm welcome. But Monsignor Ratliff is furious. He slaps each of them right across the face in one swift move. Then he gathers everyone together to make a major announcement. Due to severe financial issues, the orphanage will be permanently shut down by the end of the month. The trio is stunned. If the orphanage closes, what happens to us and the kids? Monsignor Ratliff says unless someone can come up with $830,000 to pay off the debt, the place is finished. Being the only three men at the orphanage, they immediately take on the responsibility of saving it. So, cheered on by everyone, they set off for the city to make money and pay the loan. To save on travel costs, they hop on their homemade tricycle and try to hitch a ride. They manage to hook onto a passing car, but Mo quickly realizes something's off.
Hey, Bunionhead, you forgot to tie us off to the handlebars.
I couldn't reach it, so I tied us to the back tire.
Oh, good.
And just like that, the trio is dragged all the way into the city under the watchful prayers of the nuns. But making money isn't as easy as they thought, especially since it's their first time in the city. With no other options, they bang drums, clang cymbals, and hang a giant sign around their necks. "Give us $830,000 and we'll do anything you want." Surprisingly, they actually get a job. A stunning woman approaches them. Lydia says, "If you help me with something that'll only take 10 minutes, I'll pay you the full $830,000. Wait, seriously? This isn't one of those murder-for-hire deals, right? Actually, it is. My husband. The trio nearly jumps out of their skin. "We're just here looking for work, not criminals. You've got the wrong guys." Just then, a man named Mac steps out of the car. Turns out, he's Lydia's husband. He explains he's terminally ill and wants to end his suffering early. The trio listens, deeply moved. "So, what kind of exit are you hoping for?" "Best if you sneak into my bedroom late at night and smother me with a bedsheet while I'm sleeping. But make sure you don't turn on the lights." "Why not the lights?" "Because I want a surprise death." "A surprise death, got it? You're really smart." "Hey, look, someone dropped $100. As Mac turns his head, Curly slams into him. Was that surprising enough? Unexpected enough? Still not dead? Well, This should do it. But then Lydia suddenly backs out. She jumps in the car and drives off. With no payment, the trio hangs onto her car's taillights and follows her all the way home. Before they can even speak, the butler tells Lydia that Mac is still alive. He got rescued by doctors. Well, if he's not dead, there's no payment. Can't take money for a job unfinished. Determined not to give up, the trio disguises themselves as nurses and sneaks into the hospital, planning to give Mac one final surprise. By this point, Mac was completely wrapped in a full-body cast. The moment he saw the trio show up, he freaked out and pulled off a long-lost ancient move, the ultimate turtle defense, curling himself up tight inside the plaster shell. Think you can hide from me with that turtle act? Curly, get him. Here I come. Mo lit a firecracker and tossed it straight into the shell. But Mac must have been born with 9 lives. Even though the plaster cast shot 3 meters into the air, he still came out completely unharmed. Just as the trio was about to smother him with a pillow, the nurse stormed in with security. They had no choice but to run. They bolted all the way to the rooftop, spinning around a pole a dozen times before realizing, dead end. Luckily, there was a fire hose nearby. They grabbed it and jumped. But the hose turned out to be defective too, and the 3 of them plummeted straight down. Luckily, a roadside awning cushioned their fall. Unfortunately, they landed on an unsuspecting pedestrian. As the guy got up and took a good look, "Hey, aren't you the 3 goofballs from the orphanage?" "Yeah, how'd you know?" "I'm Teddy." Turns out, Teddy was once in the same orphanage with them. He got adopted by a rich lady when he was little. In fact, the woman originally wanted to adopt Mo, but Mo refused to leave Curly and Larry behind. So in the end, the woman adopted Teddy instead. What a coincidence to run into him here. Teddy invited them over for dinner to catch up, but Mo still hadn't gotten over the whole adoption thing. Wanting to save face, he turned the invite down flat. Teddy had no choice but to snap a photo with them for old time's sake. Then they went their separate ways. But fate had other plans. Teddy just so happened to be Lydia's real husband. That evening, Teddy excitedly pulled out the photo to show Lydia, wanting to share the joy of the reunion. But the moment she saw it, her face went pale. No wonder they wanted those 3 to do the job in the dark. Now it all makes sense. Meanwhile, Mo suddenly remembered the dean had given them $72 before they left. So they decided to use that as startup money to break into farming. The dean always said, "You reap what you sow." Inspired by that, they decided to plant fish on a golf course. But no matter how hard they tried, they just couldn't succeed. Everyone else plants something and gets that thing back. How come they plant fish and only get swarms of flies and a surprise visit from the cops? The moment they saw the police, they took off running, straight into a dead end. Thankfully, there was a small iron gate nearby, locked shut. Knowing Curly's head was built like a wrecking ball, they picked him up and, bang, smashed the gate open. Once inside, they didn't even care where they were. They just started blaming each other. Larry and Curly blamed Mo for being too proud to accept Teddy's help. If he hadn't acted like that, maybe they wouldn't be in this mess now. Mo fired back. "If I hadn't refused to leave you 2 back then, I'd be the one adopted. Who knows how great my life could have been." As they argued, the 3 of them ended up in a brawl. And in the end, Larry and Curly stormed off in anger, leaving Mo behind. But as soon as they left, applause erupted, leaving Mo utterly confused. Turned out, he'd stumbled into an open audition for Jersey Shore. The producers were blown away by his raw talent and decided to make him a star. Meanwhile, Larry and Curly, still feeling down, wandered into the zoo to blow off steam. Hot on their trail were Lydia and Mac, planning to silence the trio once and for all to keep their secret from getting out. But they couldn't just stroll into the zoo like that. Ah! Turns out they picked the wrong entrance. Mac tried to pull out a gun to scare the lion away, but he underestimated the lion. It lunged straight at him. Good thing the chain holding it back was too short. Mac immediately started taunting. "Come on, big guy, bite me if you can." Elsewhere in the zoo, Larry and Curly were about to feed some peanuts to a dolphin. But just as Larry tossed one over, it landed right in the dolphin's blowhole. The poor thing looked like it was about to suffocate. The brothers jumped in and started pounding and squeezing in a total panic. The dolphin's eyes nearly popped out of its head. In the end, Curly gave it one final mighty hug. Pop! The peanut shot out like a cannonball, hit the wall at 200 miles per hour, ricocheted, and nailed the lion right in the most vulnerable spot. The next day, Larry and Curly saw Mo on a screen, living the actor's dream. and they were genuinely happy for him. But they knew they couldn't go on like this forever. So they swallowed their pride and went to Teddy's company, hoping to ask for help saving the orphanage. Unfortunately, Teddy wasn't in. But just then his adoptive father, Mr. Harder, walked in. Larry quickly stepped forward and explained their situation, but Mr. Harder cut him off with a flat-out rejection. Curly and Larry were feeling pretty down when a photo on the wall suddenly caught their attention. Hey, isn't that the woman who owes us $830,000? That's Teddy's wife. What? Teddy's wife? Then who's this guy next to her? He's Teddy's best friend! And just like that, Larry and Curly finally figured it out. They were hired to kill Teddy. Without wasting a second, the two rushed to find Mo. The director, seeing the goofy duo arrive, quickly waved over the camera crew to start filming. As the trio bickered their way through a huddle, they hatched a plan. There's no way they could let this evil scheme succeed. The three of them immediately set off for Teddy's house. At the time, a fancy party was in full swing. The boys disguised themselves as balloon vendors and managed to sneak inside. But the second they saw the lavish spread of food and drink, all thoughts of their mission vanished. They dove headfirst into the feast. Good grief! Curly polished off an entire bowl of red wine all by himself. It wasn't until Lydia spotted them and called security that the trio remembered why they came. Luckily, during the chaos of their escape, they accidentally stumbled into Teddy's room. They had just enough time to spill the truth when Mac and Lydia barged in. Mac dropped the act and pulled out a gun, aiming it straight at them. Suddenly, Mr. Harder entered, also holding a gun. The trio thought, finally, someone's here to help. But in a shocking twist, Mr. Harder revealed himself as the true mastermind. Mac was just a pawn in his game. Then Mr. Harder suggested they move to another place to discuss things, when in fact, he planned to take them somewhere isolated and get rid of them. On the way, Mr. Harder confessed he had been making a living through marriage scams. But this time, when the rich lady passed away, she left all her wealth to Teddy. That hit him right in the pride, so he plotted this entire scheme to seize Teddy's inheritance. Suddenly, Curly pulled a mouse out of his pocket and tossed it into the car, sending everyone into a panic. The car swerved out of control and plunged into a small lake. At that same moment, Mr. Harder's gun jammed. Now they were all crammed into a tiny flooded car. If they didn't drown, they'd suffocate from the lack of air. And to make things worse, Curly let out a fart so strong it nearly knocked them all out with the smell of wine. Wait a second, drunk to death? That gave Mo an idea. Turns out, Curly had converted all that red wine into pure gas. And Larry just so happened to be carrying a waterproof match. Mo grabbed one and struck it across Curly's nose. Boom! The explosion sent everyone flying right out of the car. The police arrived just in time to arrest Mr. Harder and the rest of the criminals. To thank the trio for risking their lives to save him, Teddy said, "You can ask for anything. I'll make it happen." The three lit up immediately. "Can you give us $830,000 to save the orphanage?" "No, absolutely not." He felt that everything, the betrayal by Mr. Harder and his so-called friend, happened because the orphanage placed him in an irresponsible family, so he held a grudge against the orphanage. Anything else, but not that. They knew they couldn't change his mind, so the three of them sadly rode their pedal-powered, airplane-shaped cart back to the orphanage. But the scene that greeted them left them absolutely stunned. The orphanage had completely transformed. There was a swimming pool, a basketball court, a tennis court, and the nuns were lounging under the sun like it was a spa retreat. After asking around, they found out it was the producer of Jersey Shore who had seen their potential and wanted to sign them to his company for a movie deal. And the orphanage's debt and renovations? That was just the down payment for their contract. The moment they heard this, the three of them immediately signed, officially becoming the next generation of comedy stars. Everyone was overjoyed, everyone except poor Sister Mary Mengele, who got smacked into the pool by a collapsing diving board. And with that, the movie comes to an end.